What about Vice President Harris?
I think she's a dumpster fire.
In what way?
Because, if you look at her policies, you look where she stands, look where she's done. I don't know if she's ever even gone all the way down to the border yet. We have major problems on our border. That's one of her jobs. She is out of touch with any turnaround in normal voter.
One of today's themes, as we mentioned, crime. She is someone who makes Democrats uncomfortable because she was perceived to be too tough on crime in California as AG and DA.
That had followed her, obviously, through it. But you can see, I think, as soon as she got into the White House, that she's on vacation. She doesn't go and she doesn't realize what the day-to-day people are seeing. She has done nothing to turn around and support her being as a vice president, especially when you have a president that's so lax on his job and not doing the job. You would have a strong second hand that would make up for it, and she's not doing that.
Vice President Harris?
That would be a dream. She's significantly worse than Joe Biden. I mean, I think her approval ratings are worse than Joe Biden's, which is shocking.
If Vice President Harris were to run, how would that make you feel?
Worse than Biden.
In what way?
All.
Specifically?
She does nothing right.
A lot of Democrats find her to be too tough on crime.
Too tough? Really?
Like Nikki Haley said.
DEI does not work anywhere.
DEI doesn't work anywhere?
Yes, and she's a big pusher of it. No, it doesn't work. If you're qualified for the job, you should have the job. If you're not qualified, you shouldn't have it.
Were you opposed to affirmative action then?
Biggest joke in the world.
Kamala Harris hasn't proven herself on anything. She was given the responsibility for the border. That's a big issue for Texas. There's no excuse for that. Just allowing 10 million people that are illegal into the country. So I don't know. There's just they've kind of painted themselves into a corner with identity politics. Picking certain personality traits, sexual preferences, things like that to put people in positions, and we need the most qualified people.
Who do you think would run the best against Donald Trump?
I don't know who would run the best, but in a Democratic situation which we find ourselves in, one would think it would be his vice president, Kamala Harris. And I believe that if it is not Kamala Harris, it's really going to hurt the party because it's really going to highlight and speak to how they have no interest in the people's voice. It's just the power structure voice.
What about Vice President Harris?
Oh, God, no. No.
And what about the former First Lady, Michelle Obama?
No, not at all. She would probably excite the Democrats more, but Republicans and independents aren't going to vote for her. So, no.
You think there are a lot of independents out there?
Yes. More and more. More and more, because both parties have become, how would I say it? The common terminology is more parties have become more extreme. I won't say more extreme, but there's become a larger gap between what the two parties represent. And a lot of people just want common sense things done. And that's why I think more and more people are going to, as an independent, not wanting to be a member of one of the two parties.
One Democrat, if you heard, so-and-so is running, where you'd say, that one, it could be tough. I still think we'll win, but it could be tough.
For me, maybe I'm in the bubble, but for me, I go to a super liberal school. It's rated every year one of the most liberal schools, and I still couldn't say, I don't know who could put up a proper fight against Trump at this point.
What about Vice President Harris?
No. I would say I don't think replacing Biden with Harris would do any difference. I still think it would just end up in the same spot and them getting swept with most of the states.
And what about Michelle Obama?
Michelle Obama, I like Michelle Obama. She's a good people person, but I don't know if she's the person that we need running our country at this point. I'm sure we'd get along, and she's a great people person. I'd love to talk to her, but I don't think she's the type of person that we need right now in our country to run our country.
Vice President Harris?
No, I don't think she has a chance.
Your Senator Ted Cruz said that he thinks that Michelle Obama could beat Donald Trump and is maybe the only person who could definitely beat him. Do you agree?
Well, I think it depends on if the Democrats are willing to listen to more lies, pablum, ridicule from their side, but not really any real solutions, except their continued problems that they're creating for America. And they're just going to continue the problems they're committing for everyday citizens. At some point, their folks are going to have to feel the pain that their own party's throwing their direction, because it's going to hit them.
Who do you think would be the best candidate for the Democrats to run right now against Donald Trump?
Honestly, they have a very weak bench. I can't even really think of anybody. Kamala is so disliked, even not just by Republicans and independents, but her own party. She really hasn't done much as a VP, and...
Do you think the VP does much anyway in general?
Obviously not. Obviously not.
But we've elected many VPs, but the job doesn't require a lot to do.
Exactly. But the bench, even Newsom, I mean, his record in California is horrific. So they just don't have a bench. I can't think of anybody. And honestly, I wish they had a good candidate.
Harris is going to, if not, then Harris will replace him. But a lot of them don't want Harris. Okay?
Who is the Democrat that you know of that would do best against Trump?
Oh gosh, Democrat that would do best against Trump. That I would want to do against Trump, or I think would have the best chance of beating Trump.
That would have the best chance of beating Trump, or would come closest to beating Trump?
I guess Kamala, because the money that they have behind her. I know they'll lose their funding if they don't run her because of the Biden-Harris campaign. I think Newsom's too far left to run against Trump. I don't think any middle ground would vote for Newsom. And then Michelle Obama, I don't think so. I think she's also too far left.
Is there someone that the Democrats could run that has you more scared than anybody else should the president stand down?
Not necessarily, because regardless of their candidate at this point, the chaos surrounding whatever process they had to employ to put a new candidate in and bypass Kamala Harris, who would be expected to take that mantle if Biden were to step down. I don't think any one of those candidates would fare well because of the climate the Democrats found themselves in. Also, I think that the replace Biden movement ended very concretely on Saturday night.
Why do you think it did?
The Democrats know that the whole narrative of this race changed, coming with the attempted assassination attempt on the president. The momentum that continued to build, it immediately just vanished. It was palpable. Democratic sources have verified as much.
President Harris, does a candidate Harris give you greater pause than candidate Biden?
Neither one of them at this point concern me. I think this election, the structure of this election's already been, it's the foundation's there. There's very little that can really happen to change the trajectory. Seriously, the Democrats' best hope is to try and find a way to hold on to a couple of their swing state senators.